Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to totally demystify a math skill you use probably every single day without even realizing it. I'm talking about rounding. It sounds simple, right? But getting it perfect every time? Well, it all comes down to one surprisingly easy trick. So, first things first, let's talk about the why. Why on earth would you take a perfectly good, precise number like 4,372 and just change it to 4,400? It feels a little weird, right? But it turns out making a number a little less exact can actually make it a whole lot more useful. Let's dive into how that works. Okay, so here's our game plan for this. We're going to start with why we even round numbers in the first place. Then I'm going to let you in on the one single rule that I promise covers everything. After that, we'll put it to the test on whole numbers, then tackle decimals, and finally, we'll look at where this stuff actually pops up in the real world. All right, first up, why even bother with rounding? Well, the short answer is our brains just aren't calculators. We need a way to make numbers cleaner, simpler, and just easier to manage in our heads. See, rounding isn't about getting a wrong answer. Not at all. It's about finding a more useful one. Think of rounding as the engine that powers estimation. It's what lets you do quick math on the fly and talk about big ideas or big numbers without getting totally bogged down in the tiny details. Okay, now for the main event, the secret weapon. I want you to forget all those complicated math rules you might have learned, because when it comes to rounding, it all boils down to one single, simple idea. And once you get this, you'll be able to round pretty much any number, anytime, anywhere. So here it is. It's a simple process. First, you just find your target, the place value you're supposed to be rounding to. Then, and this is the most important part, you just look at the one digit directly to its right. That's it. That one little neighbor digit is the decider. If that neighbor is a 5 or something bigger, you round your target number up. But if it's a 4 or anything smaller, your target number just stays the same. Seriously, every single rounding problem follows this exact logic. And if you want a really easy way to remember this, just think of this little rhyme. 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. Just lock that into your brain because that little phrase, well, it's the key to this whole thing. All right, theory's over. Let's put this rule into practice, okay? We're going to start with a basic whole number. So let's take the number 4,372. Our mission is to round it to the nearest hundred. So step 1, find our place. We look at the number and the digit in the hundreds place, yep, it's the 3. So that 3 is our target. Okay, now for that crucial step. We're going to look next door, to the right. And I mean it, we ignore every other number in this equation. Because the only digit that matters right now is this one, the 7. This is our decision maker. It's the one that's going to tell us exactly what to do with our target, that 3. So, time to apply our rule. We look at the 7. Is it 5 or more? Absolutely. So what do? We raise the score. That means our target digit, the 3, gets bumped up to a 4. So that 3 becomes a 4. Now, this next part is super important for whole numbers. Every digit to the right of our rounded number turns into a 0. Think of them as placeholders. They have to be there to make sure the number stays in the thousands. And just like that, 4,372, rounded to the nearest hundred, becomes 4,400. Simple, right? See? You've already mastered whole numbers. And the best part is, you basically already know how to round decimals too. It is the exact same rule, just with one tiny little twist right at the very end. Okay, let's try this one. 5.478. And we're going to round it to the nearest tenth. So first, as always, we find our place value. The digit in the 10th place, that's the 4. All right, what's next? You know it, we look to the right. And our neighbor digit is a 7. And just like before, that 7 is 5 or more, which means we're going to round our target digit up. So our 4 rounds up to a 5, giving us 5.5. And here it is. Here's that little twist I mentioned for decimals. Did you notice how the 7 and the 8 at the end didn't turn into zeros? They just vanished. They're gone. So let's look at this side by side because this is the key difference. With whole numbers, we need those zeros as placeholders to keep the value right. But with decimals, we don't need placeholders after the decimal point. So we just drop the extra digits completely. You just snip them right off. Okay, so we have totally mastered the how. Now let's circle back to the why. I mean, why is this a skill you're actually going to use outside of a math class? Well, it's because rounding is basically the language of estimation. It's what lets your brain quickly figure out if you have enough money for groceries, or enough time to get to your appointment, or enough ingredients for a recipe. It's all about taking messy, complex numbers and making them simple enough to actually use. And now that you know the rule, you're going to start seeing it everywhere. That price tag for a $9.95, your brain instantly rounds that up to $10. A recipe calls for 1.8 cups of flour? You know that's pretty much 2 cups. In every single one of those situations, you're subconsciously applying the exact same rule. Find the important digit and let its neighbor decide what happens next. So let's just recap that one golden rule one last time to really lock it in. Number 1, find your place. Number 2, look next door. And number 3, remember the rhyme. 5 or more raises the score, 4 or less lets it rest. And that is literally it. It really is that straightforward. So now that you have the one single rule that governs all of rounding, the only question left is, where are you going to see rounding simplify your world today?